Hey, all in preparation for a press conference that's scheduled to kick off here momentarily. If you recall some of our posts on this press conference, it was supposed to start yesterday. We had a little bit of some technical difficulties on that. Logistics with the truckers, as you know, we've been following the story for several weeks now as they've made their 2,300 plus mile journey from Southern California to the DC area. Liz Willis provided great coverage just the other day as they started to make their laps around the Beltway. But now they're here on Capitol Hill, and it's time to talk to lawmakers. Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie would join us here in a few and take some questions from the truckers to find exactly why they are doing what they are doing. And of course, they are inspired by the Canadian truckers that we saw outside of Ottawa just last month. But they've rallied. There have been several different convoys starting from various places across the country making their way to the D.C. area. So now it's time to figure out what's on their mind. And obviously, it first started as kind of an anti-COVID mandate, mask, federal mandate that was put in place. And understandably, that was the premise of a lot of this stuff, to bring awareness on that. And of course, now that it seems like even the political landscape has changed in the last couple of weeks. As we see now, we have a war going on in Ukraine. We have the cost of gasoline, and that's one of the lead stories. I know President Biden just spoke from the White House at around 10:45 here local time, talking about his basically not going to purchase Russian oil, and efforts to stop funding the advancement of Russian troops into Ukraine. Now, what that will mean to you and I at the gas pump is, quite honestly, it's probably going to mean that gas is going to go up even more. We can talk a little bit about that here in a second. But we're live here in Capitol here. We're in the Rayburn building waiting for Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Matt Gaetz to get here, along with about 60 truckers are making their way from where they've been here in southern Maryland, northern Virginia area, making their way to the Capitol here. So looking forward to hearing what they have to say, what's on their mind, and what's their plans. I was going over some news stories earlier, seeing how the local news was covering this event, finding out exactly how the national news was covering this event as well. And they really minimized their effectiveness here in the DC area, saying that, on any typical day, it's a slow roll through this metroplex city day with traffic. So them being on the roads didn't really disrupt the day-to-day activities here from people that are commuting into the city. So we'll see if that changes. I know that they were going to make one lap on one day, and then the next day they bumped it up to 2 laps. And I even saw one reporter talk about every day that their, quote, demands weren't met, end quote, they would add a lap to that day on the Beltway. So we'll see if that's true or not. Of course, there's so much speculation of why they're here. I know that we got in town a couple days ago, so we've had some time to walk around DC, and I did notice a lot of the military vehicles, the Hummers, the troop transporters, snow plows out and around the Capitol, and you just have to ask yourself, what is that? What does that symbolize? Any type of aggression they feel that might come from the truckers. And as you know, and you've seen the video, and we've seen it in Canada, it was nothing but bouncy houses, hot dogs, and hot tubs, and hockey. Just about the opposite of anything that they would think would happen here in D.C. So we have not seen any trucks come into the local area here. I have not seen any trucks come into this immediate area here in D.C. So from what I've seen, I haven't seen it. But obviously, Liz Willis was just outside the Beltway a couple of days ago, and you saw the thousands of truckers. I mean, they even said at one point it was up to 70 miles long of trucks coming from all over. Not just trucks. I heard reports of people flying in from all across the country, renting RVs in Southern California and simply driving across the country. We've seen families getting their, load up the automobile and drive across the country And this time of year, when you think about it, in the last couple of weeks, you got spring break starting around the country, so maybe this was something that they could do as a family. I don't know. I met a couple people yesterday outside the White House as we were just kind of exploring the city that we once lived in post-election. Very different city. We can go off on that here in just a second. But a lot of people are coming into the D.C. area to see exactly what it's like. And I was able to talk to a few families, asking them, hey, why are you here? We thought the truckers would come into town. We wanted to see them and show our support. So there's a lot of people support these truckers. And, of course, they're brave men and women that have been on the road for weeks, and a lot of time this is some of these efforts are self-funding. I mean, I know there's some crowdsourcing that they've done on Telegram, which